Sometimes my brain says stuff that I don't even agree with.
Hi!
Welcome to Gunpowder Fiction and Plot. That's Nell. I'm Scott.
He is.
I can verify it. And today we're going to do, if you like that, like this video, but with an Asian twist for Asian Readathon.
Readathon, not read along. I'm never going to get that right. Booktube. Too similar.
But before we get in that, we've been inundated with subscribers. Hooray! Awesome. We've got a shout out by the lovely Katie at Books and Things. Thank you very much, Katie. We really appreciate that.
Oh, you said so many nice things. I may have gotten a little emotional. Thank you.
It's always nice to get a shout out from one of the absolute best stations, the channels out there.
Stations, you're so old.
I'm so old.
Anyway,
stand up to change the TV station. We just let's say comment on one of our videos if you're a new subscriber.
Say hi.
And especially if you're another booktuber, we'd love to check you out if you subscribe to us.
Yeah, we're obsessed with booktube.
One book is written by an Asian author. One book is written by a Whitey McWhite author.
I'm not sure that all my Whitey McWhite are so white, but
actually,
a non-Asian author.
Yeah, no, that's not true. Anyway, the first one I would like to discuss is Celeste Ng's Little Fires Everywhere and The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling.
So if you like The Casual Vacancy, you should like The Little Fires Everywhere. If you give me spoilers for this, you're going to be in so much trouble.
So this is probably the most read book on BookTube at the moment because Cindy said, everybody read this book! The structure of The Casual Vacancy and Little Fires Everywhere is quite similar in that you have a bunch of teenagers running about and a bunch of adults running about all doing things. It would be a boring book if they weren't doing things. But there's a lot of focus on both generations in this book, and they interact in an interesting way. And then on top of that, it's quite a small town in England for The Casual Vacancy. It's quite a small town it's quite an insular town in the US and in the UK. And then both books are essentially about racism. And while J.K. Rowling couples racism with classism and drug abuse, Celeste Ng couples it with parenthood, infertility and abortion. So,
Sounds fun.
Yeah, so and I think that, if you like one, you get to enjoy the other. It's just tiny differences in topics, really. Yeah.
So my first one is, if you liked The Curious Incident of the Dog and the Nighttime, you will like But First They Killed My Father. Now, bear with me. Because I know that sounds like a stretch. But basically, one of the things that I really enjoyed about But First They Killed My Father is the fact that it's from the perspective of the narrator at the age she was when the events occurred. So, and that's the same with The Curious Case of the Dog in the Nighttime as well. It's from the perspective of a child. So you do actually see her grow older and the perspective changes throughout the book because she ages. But I thought that was one of the real key things about the book, was that it sort of communicated to you what it would be like to experience these events as a child, not how you remembered it and how you interpret it now as an adult, but like the confusion that comes along with being a kid surrounded by these kind of horrific, world-changing, genocidal events. And yes, so that was my comparison. Oh, the next one is Of Mice and Men. If you liked Of Mice and Men, then you will like Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I don't know if the word like is appropriate for Kim Ji-young, born 1982. It's definitely a valuable book that I am glad I read, but my response was rage and fury. So I don't know that like is appropriate. It's very good. I had a strong emotional reaction to both these books. They're both in a real pared back, simple style that lets you sit with the central issues. They both beat you over the head repeatedly with the theme. I think stylistically the two are actually quite similar despite being about completely different things. And if you liked Of Mice and Men, then you should read Kim Ji-young, born 1982. And if you're a human being, you should read Kim Ji-young, born 1982.
And Nell will have a review out of Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I don't know whether it'll be before or after this video.
We'll post it at some point.
The next one I have is, if you liked Ali Wiessel's Night, then try Nadia Murad's The Last Girl. So, Ali Wiessel's Night, if you don't know, is a tale of how Ali Wiesel, it's how he survived Auschwitz, essentially. It's a tale of how he survived ethnic cleansing.
Extermination,
exactly. And Nadia Murad is a Yazidi, and the Yazidis were targeted for ethnic cleansing by Saddam Hussein, by Al-Qaeda, and then eventually by ISIS. And this is a story...
Awesome!
just bang, 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 and how they were constantly, like, betrayed by their allies, who were like, we'll look after you. No, we won't.
No, I can't be bothered. Yeah. Great.
That was a theme, yeah. She then went on to win a Nobel Peace Prize. I think Ali Wiesel might have won the Nobel Prize for Literature or something. So, I don't know what he won, but he
Good
won
research.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Preparation.
Nadia Murad became what's called a sabucha, which is essentially a slave that it is legal to rape.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And I think that not just if you liked one, you will like the other, but if you haven't read either of these books, read them both at the same time, because one thing that Nadia Murad does is point out how unoriginal ISIS is, you know, and how boring their tactics are, like...
Yeah, I've got to say, I think the most horrifying books are like when you realise that this happens again and again and again in history.
Yeah, and like she basically says, I can't believe I have so much in common with women in Rwanda, a place I didn't know existed until after this happened to me.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Now the next one is a double up, because we've both picked the same book here.
Ooh, so if you like The Handmaid's Tale, which everyone does...
My recommendation is Han Can's The Vegetarian.
And why is that?
Okay, well, this is essentially a book about bodily autonomy and consent and when you should have it and when you shouldn't have it. It's creepy and it makes you feel uncomfortable, and you realise that this is not entirely a work of fiction, that this is something that happens every day. It has things like intermarital rape in it and stuff like that. It's sort of the creepiness that is The Handmaid's Tale when you sort of like, you're reading it and you're like, oh yeah, it's dystopian, no, that happens. You know? And The Vegetarian, oh, this is creepy, this is fiction, oh wait.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that, so...
Yeah, I'm done.
My pick for this is The Farm by Joanne Ramos. There's the obvious similarity of The Farm is about essentially outsourcing human pregnancy to the poor and farming humans, I guess, for profit. And again, there's that real core, this is a thing that is actually in existence in modern day, you know, the world. And this is a fictionalized account and it's, you know, a dystopian blah blah, but it's taken from things that have really happened and things that really do happen, and thus in lies the horror.
It's one of those dystopian novels that isn't actually a dystopian novel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, look at how shit humans are.
I actually read a couple of reviews of The Farm on Goodreads, and then people criticise it for not being dystopian enough. They're like, all of this happens. And
Yes, that's the point. The point is that it all happens.
exactly. Dystopian novels are what they say about society, not fantasy. All right, where are we up to? This one is a bit of a strange one, but I definitely think this is true. These books aren't that similar, but I really think if you like To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, then I'll really be surprised if you say, I didn't like Never Let Me Go by Ishiguro.
But if you're going to say it in the comments.
Yeah, tell me why you loved Harper Lee and hated Ishiguro or vice versa.
Yeah.
So, essentially, Never Let Me Go is a dystopian novel that is said in such a lovely, gentle, calming tone. It could almost be like that old songs of praise sort of narrative style is what it almost makes me think of. But it's actually a horrible novel. It's, essentially about these people who are grown for spare parts for other humans. And their life. So, it's horrible, and it has elements of classism all throughout it. And To Kill a Mockingbird is a lovely tale about a child growing up with her brother. And then it has elements of racism all throughout the novel, and it makes you think. Now, it's a little bit more, the first half of To Kill a Mockingbird is almost a kid's book, and the second half is this really adult book. It's not that simple, but it kind of almost is. Sometimes my brain says stuff that I don't even agree with. The words that come out of my mouth are not always what I think.
You need that on a t-shirt. As a warning.
As a warning.
To people who come across you.
Disclaimer.
Just because I said it doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean even I think it's true.
Man, I take no responsibility for what I say. It's not like I'm the president or something.
He meant that.
I did.
What's next? We're still talking about... Are we still talking about...
Oh, we're still... Well, I think I'm basically done. I think essentially what we have is two books with quite an enjoyable, gentle tone that are actually discussing quite dark issues.
Yeah, it's what you like in music too.
Really?
Yeah, a song that sounds cheerful, but it's talking about genocide.
Morrissey.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's the next one mine. It's The Life of Pi.
And The White Tiger.
Yes. So if you like The Life of Pi, then you should read The White Tiger. I've got to say The White Tiger is probably not the best book I've ever read. I'm not saying that it's uber high quality, but it does have some similarities to The Life of Pi, and I think that if you enjoyed that sort of structure and the outcome and sort of the protagonist telling you a story sort of thing, then you'll like The White Tiger. Yeah.
One's got a tiger in a boat, the other's got a tiger in the title.
Yeah.
I've not actually read The White Tiger, I was trying to help.
Okay.
No.
If you liked Donna Tartt's The Goldfinch, then you should read Bikram Seth's An Equal Music. I think there's a couple of things. There's sort of a well-researched density to both of these authors in general that I think is comparable. The passion that comes through when describing art and antiquity in The Goldfinch really is echoed in the way music is talked about in An Equal Music. They both have connections to the real world. I found out that An Equal Music is actually about a real life quartet in the real world. I didn't know that it was based around real people, but it is. yeah, so I think that there's some sort of grounding in, certainly enough that if you liked one, you'll like the other. And I thoroughly enjoyed both.
Excellent. That is the completion of our list.
Yeah, so happy Asian Readathon. Who are you reading that's Asian? What do you think about if you like, then you'll like? And talk to us.
Give us some ideas. What would you like us to do our next if you like that?
Yeah.
Like...
Also, like this video and subscribe to our channel because we're awesome and you want to see us more.
Every time someone likes our video, a released Kraken gets put away.
Yes, that's awesome.